You are going to learn that your body is important just as your mind is important. And based on this very basic idea, now it starts. Now somebody maybe ask, okay, now, yes, I want to develop the mind. How should I do it? And then, in the Shaolin Temple, traditionally we are teaching Buddhist teachings, Confucianist teachings, and Taoist teachings. So 3, let's say, teachings aiming in the development of the mind. So you are reading series, you are reading essays, you are reading different texts, maybe some of them describing the life of one of these persons, meaning Buddha, or maybe Lao Tzu, or maybe Confucius. Yeah. By putting yourself into the skin of those personalities, you maybe, or maybe not, get a glimpse of, okay, so this is how they were living. This is the virtues that they inhabited in themselves, why they are behaving in this, and that way. These were some type of virtues that they were abiding to, that they kept as a guideline in their daily life. That is like where the Siri part, in a way, tries to already offer you something. Offer you something, because at the end of the day, it's still up to you to decide whether you take what you have observed there as something that you think is useful for you. Or if you just say, I cannot relate to it. I don't know what they mean, what it means, so it's not relevant for me. This is like in terms of theoretical aspects. And then at the same time, we have the physical practice, which means it is the Kung Fu training, it is the Tai Chi training, and it's the Qigong training. And practical means because by doing some type of practice, you get answers. Sometimes it's answers you didn't ask. But nevertheless, the important part is that through the practice, there is some type of information and some type of knowledge being transmitted to you along the way of practice that will never, ever come in this lifetime. If you would only read books, the knowledge from the practical, the knowledge from the theoretical, this afterwards you take. What it means is you have a field of knowledge, you have an area that now, at any time, wherever you are going in this lifetime, you are able to access it. And when are these times to access it? It is times when you are being placed in a situation where you need to take a decision, for example. No matter from which country you're coming from, no matter from which culture somebody is coming from, this whole life is based on the decisions you are taking. Some people take that type of decision which leads to a consequence. Other people maybe take better decisions which leads to another consequence. Ultimately, it's about the decisions. But how come sometimes people are confronted with the same situation, but they take completely different approaches, they take completely different decisions? It is because one of them has more or the other one has less access to knowledge, to experience than the other one. So what all of this theoretical learning, practical learning, what all of this is supposed to offer to you is just a whole bandwidth of solutions, which we think is very good to have. Walking through this lifetime, not only as a martial artist, it doesn't matter from where you come from. The more possibilities you can access, the better for you. Sometimes in order for you to develop something, some type of experience, some type of situations are necessary. So that means this idea of sometimes it needs something really, really emotional that triggers you inside. Then the change comes. Sometimes it's exactly what makes you cry, exactly what makes you confront yourself and what is super uncomfortable. Exactly these moments sometimes are the ones you should be thankful for, because they carry the potential to unlock something very fundamental inside of you. Let's say like this here. It is impossible for a human being to walk through this lifetime without making things that the first time they do it directly go right, or the mean is everybody will do something which will go wrong, no matter in which type of field. But after it went wrong the first time, the question is, how are you going to continue? If you are starting to be wise, intelligent, you are observing the situation. Why did you make it wrong? What was the mistake? What went wrong in it? If you are confronted the second time with the same situation and you make it wrong again, so apparently you didn't learn something. And in the way how Confucius expresses this is, making something wrong the first time, it's not a mistake, it is your chance to correct it. But making the same situation over and over, wrong again and wrong again, because you're of the unwillingness to learn something from it. That is the mistake. That something goes wrong the first time, this is not the mistake. If you don't learn from it, if you don't observe the situation, take the knowledge out in order to make a better outcome for the future, if this is not your trial, if this is not what you're aiming for, then it's a mistake. So in a way, it is the same that nowadays we are already expressing with the term of, that's why you need challenges. You will fail definitely a few times. The question is, what will you take out of these failures? And in the way of people, for example, yes, it can happen that you made in the past, took some decisions, took some actions that have shaped your present life right now and also will have an impact on the future. But we cannot undo the past. Therefore, the question is, what will you take out of this lesson that you have? You did one thing wrong in the past. Now it's following you your whole life long. First conclusion is, I need to better take care about what I am involving in. Message number 1. Now, some things you cannot undo, yet there is still the possibility to rebalance things. And there are different ways how you can approach it. For example, by doing a lot of charity work. You did wrong to many people in the past. Now, do something good for many people where you are excluded. Let's say charity work. Invest some of your time to take care of people that they can benefit from your work energy, let's say. These are very practical ways that in our tradition we also sometimes make use of. Charity work, donating, this is where all of this comes from. Yeah. Because it takes something. It takes something from you in order to live this way of life. Everybody talks about letting go of the self, letting go of the illusion of the ego. Yeah, how? For example, like this. Do something that is not for the benefit of yourself. Invest your lifetime, a few hours, a few days, every week, every month, and do something where other people are benefiting from your work. This is what I think is a practical way how that maybe guilt that some people still feel nowadays can be reduced. Before you were taking, now it's time to give. When things are rebalanced, then you can continue on another path again. But before anyone continues, you need to rebalance. You want to know what is spiritual. You don't approach spirituality. You want to know what is spiritual, figure out what is the physical. Then you will get to there. You want to know what is like left. Don't approach left. Figure out what is right. Yeah. And in such way, this is also like something counterintuitive. But that is one of the methods. This is why you want freedom, we want freedom, yes. But how do we live? Structured rules, walls, all of this. That doesn't look like this would be free. Yes, you want freedom, face the structure, face the hard discipline. Because if inside this hard structured form, you are able to have the freedom, you feel free inside this hard form, that is the freedom. But to always directly approach what you want is the wrong way. Why? Because it is one-sided. Because it is only one-sided. You want success, you directly try to approach success. Yeah, but it's impossible to have this success if you do not know what that failure is before. So now the question is, how do you make this pose? How can you have this wide view of incorporating everything that is involved in it? You need to find a way how to always embrace everything that is involved into it. And that's why we say relaxation and tension, they both belong together. That's why there's no way. I need to know both of them. This is not about if you want or not. You need both of them. Of course, we want to have spiritual development. But how do we get there? By figuring out what is at the moment really accessible to me. My body. Because this is nothing about imagining, this is nothing about fantasizing. Your body is something that is available to you 24 hours every day. So therefore, because it is so close to me, I can learn from it. So we go from the physical to the spiritual. And yes, this is where I would say it's one part of what is existing in this type of teachings here. What I know is when people receive some type of knowledge, that knowledge can be very, very powerful. There is knowledge out there that just gives you the ability suddenly to see for yourself what you are capable of. Now the question for me is, if I would like to run any type of system, if I would like to establish some type of structure, I don't want that everybody inside the structure does what he thinks he wants to do. It just would not work. So now the problem is, in the moment where you are receiving some type of knowledge and you for yourself can understand your potential, I think it's not wanted. So based on that, it was unwanted after some time that the real knowledge, that the real methods are being shared to too many people, not just in China, but worldwide. I think it's still nowadays like this. There is some type of knowledge people don't want that it's getting out there. Why? Because after you have this type of knowledge, after you practice and develop yourself, you cannot be controlled anymore. You cannot be influenced so easy anymore. Why? Because you will see for yourself what you can do and what you can't do. You don't need to listen for anybody to tell you what you are able of and what you are not capable of. This is what it means to bring out the potential of someone. Which potential? The potential to express yourself. If you don't realize that potential inside of yourself, what you can and what you can't, other people will tell you. Other people will put you in that category where they think you would be useful for. Yeah, but this is not what I think is the intention and the purpose of you living this life. I think for all of us, living this life means you have the right, in a way, to self-express yourself as long as you don't harm other people along this way. So this complete knowledge and at the same time the methods that were strengthening, hardening, and making your body become a weapon, this combination is deadly for any system. You are a good fighter and you're intelligent and wise. You know what you are mentally and physically capable of, and your body is at the same time strong, is the worst combination. Nobody can tell you something. So, and this is why it's a big jump right now. But there is the time where the practical, where the practice of the martial arts was forbidden. And now, based on that, I don't want to go too deep into it because sometimes these are legends, sometimes they are fairy tales, I don't know. But some movements of the traditional martial arts styles, for example, sometimes you see that it looks like a farmer's job. Because it is said that this type of fighting techniques were hidden inside the farmer's job because they couldn't publicly practice their kung fu. They needed to hide their training in, let's say, daily activities where nobody could witness this. I cannot tell you if it's a legend or not. It's out of question that there are practices still existing nowadays that definitely have some similarities. And yes. But the main idea is that there was a time where all of this practical approach was forbidden, and and that was at the same time also the point where I think it happened, that the majority of knowledge that once was hidden inside those walls started to spread into the world. And this is why you don't find it anymore where you think it is. It maybe slowly is coming back again, but it's still out there right now. And like I initially also said, what is another mission of this monastery? It's the same like it is 1,500 years ago. Collecting knowledge. This time it just means we have to recollect it, because it's lost. And number 2, educating the youth. But educating the youth, now it's our novices, the master students, and the disciples, and everybody who, in a way, is now in contact with this temple. With what goal? Give the power back. Give the power back that people have. Is that humans have the same issues in every country, regardless of nation and culture. There are some things that are just connected to being human. At the same time, I realize that some nations, some cultures are very much impeded, also in the way of how they were brought up, meaning with a very specific type of looking at the world. Another part of this world has other ways of looking at the same problem. Everybody is looking for the solution of their issues. And sometimes there is not only one answer. Sometimes the answer from them is correct, then the answer from them is correct. Because sometimes the answer and the solution is based on the person itself. I make it maybe a little bit more clear. In Buddhism exists, for example, this idea of reincarnation. In other traditions, you don't have reincarnation. Either you have paradise or you have hell. So now somebody might be asking, so who is talking the truth now? The Christians or the Buddhists? So what of them? Either reincarnation or hell and heaven. What if both of it would be possible? What if the person who his whole life long believed and grew up in this belief system, there will be heaven and hell, okay, you go to heaven and hell. And if somebody died with the last thought of reincarnation is possible, why he can't get to that state of being reincarnated? Who says there can only be one of those two things? Because potential for me means if a human can think it, it's there. And if somebody creates something in the mind between heaven and hell, it's there. If somebody creates in his mind reincarnation, it's already existing in the mind as well. And so from this example, I can just see that what nowadays is happening is that a lot of Eastern insights, Eastern methods, for example, on the one side, being more and more exposed in the Western world. And then it seems like the Western world now is trying to counter with some insights that the Western science and the Western culture maybe has developed. And I just think both of them are right. It would be good to see the connection between, how both of these insights can be brought together, because it just gives you the bigger view. And eventually, we're talking about the same stuff. They're not against each other. Yeah. So, and in that sense, very, very glad and very thankful if there are people that are maybe famous out there, if they also sometimes share the methods. Even though they're coming maybe from another area, it only tells me, okay, maybe he got it. Maybe he understood that it's the same, it's just I just speak another language. With the way of how I speak, I can reach a certain group of people. with the way of how another person explains it. For example, Joe Rogan, the way how he talks, he reaches another group of people. But what is it that is reaching them? A message. And this is the important part. I don't care how the message is reaching them. I want the message to get out. In the recent times, for example, when I looked at different interviews, there's one word which starts to, maybe it seems like it, but it pops up more often, which is the warrior. Yeah, it pops up a little bit, quite often. And of course, you can be a mental warrior, meaning you're always strict, you're always strong in the mind, you keep going. Yes, of course, this is something that you need. But at the same time, taking it a little bit more literal, a little bit more martial, it also means a warrior that you at the same time have the physical abilities to interfere. A warrior is sent. A warrior has or feels the obligation. If something is out of balance out there, I'm going to fix it. Or you try. And if you try and you fail, you try harder next time. But you don't give up on that statement that you are giving to yourself. So, and in that sense, and especially that the Shaolin warriors are embedded in the field of martial arts, the full picture is you need to have a capable body. But if I would express it like this too often, maybe there will be a group of people that say, yeah, but I can't anymore because of this, and this issue. So how can I still participate in the Shaolin teachings? You can, of course. That's why I'm telling this the whole time, that it's not about this martial aspect. But if you want to have a glimpse into how in the past Shaolin warriors were living, why they were called like this, it's possible to find it out. And that means you are using methods to bring something out of the body that the average person does not have. It's not only that you are physically able. It is something very strange. It is something that inside of you access something different than you. There is a famous saying which is called Gui Shou Fo Shin. Demon's hand, Buddha heart. It's an old Shaolin saying. Develop the demon hand, while at the same time maintain the Buddha's heart. Demon and Buddha, you might say they are both very two different sides. Yeah, you need both. You need both. Demon hand, demon heart, no good. Then you are going to become a threat for this world. Demon hand, Buddha heart. Well, to be able to access something and then decide upon your heart whether to use it or not. I think this is what we're looking for. Yeah, and the physical abilities is important, of course. Yeah, but there's more to it.